Relationships are complicated things. Whether they be romantic, familial, friendly, hell, even one's relationship with the world at large can be a bit of a mess. They always seem to be strained by petty drama to the point that you might just want to give up on them entirely. Of course, maybe I've just been unlucky in this regard, but still. It's hard to put into words, really, but it's a feeling perfectly captured, strangely enough, by a show you might have heard of. That is, essentially, and let's not beat around the bush here, since it certainly doesn't, FranXX, the animation. Darling in the Franxx is an original anime series co-produced by Studio Trigger and A1 Pictures that began airing in early January. Set in a desolate post-apocalyptic wasteland, where the last remnants of humanity have holed up in large mobile settlements called plantations, this coming-of-age story follows Squad 13, one of many groups of teenage mecha pilots referred to as parasites, as they both fight to protect humanity from colossal, alien-like monstrosities known as Klaxosaurs, and learn to navigate the tumultuous emotional turmoil that comes with puberty and teenagerhood. Is that a word? And just for reference's sake, Squad 13 is made up of the self-insert male lead hero, the wild half-human half-Klaxosaur female lead 02, the squad leader Ichigo, the best boy Goro, the well-meaning Futoshi, the caring Kokoro, the energetic Miku, the cocky Zerome, the quiet Ikuno, and the high and mighty Mitsuru. As you'd expect from, well, anything involving Trigger or A1, the show's artwork and animation is a feast for the eyes. No, not because of that. I mean, kind of. But I'm talking about the fluidity of the animation, the absolute chaos of its larger-than-life action, and the way its stylized designs give it all a unique flair, especially in regards to the mechs, referred to as FranXXs, whose slender and agile builds are a nice change of pace from the big, blocky, geometric mega machines of your typical mecha show. And that's not the shit-talk mecha designs, it's just cool to see a bit of variation. No, that's not! Stop trying to make me fuck the robots already! Alright, I can only dance around this for so long. From the get-go, Darling in the Franxx brute forces its themes.
素敵だったよ。ダーリン。
俺下手じゃなかった。
いい感じだよ。
一人で訓練機使ってシコシコ特訓ってか？
わからない。急に。
私のせい？違う
と思う。
さっさと起こしなさいよ。
うるせえ、やってるって。
I joke about it being FranXX the animation for a reason. It's to the point that, when initially airing, many people understandably were turned off by it, dismissing the show as just another example of fanservice-y schlock. It's the kind of vulgar and in-your-face pandering you'd expect a teenager to draw up, and I think that's the point. While the characters may not have the faintest idea of how sex and physical intimacy works, while with them being raised in a hyper-religious society that doesn't answer their questions, the kinds of immature mindsets you'd expect them to have about such topics are translated into their mentality about partnering up and riding a FranXX, itself an unsubtle metaphor for sex. Zerome and Mitsuru mock and undermine Hiro because of the trouble he has in connecting with his partner, and go out of their way to prove how much better they are than him at riding a FranXX after he ends up being the first among them to actually do so. Rumors abound about 02 and a reputation as a partner killer, who jumps from partner to partner because no one can survive riding a FranXX with her more than 3 times, and being shunned for it. It's the kind of shaming and mockery you'd expect from high schoolers. The show's initial depiction of sex and relationship matches the young and inexperienced mentalities of its characters. But as the show progresses, it and its characters mature, moving past their growing pains and learning that things are far more complicated than they realized, as they start to develop and figure out their feelings for each other and how to deal with them. 02 spirals into isolation and toxic behavior, doing everything she can to feel normal and be accepted by a society that's exploited her and her Klaxosaur blood, while Hiro does his best to try and get her to open up so he can understand her better. Meanwhile, Goro realizes that he has strong feelings for Ichigo, whilst Ichigo's jealousy of 02's relationship with Hiro eventually reaches a boiling point when 02 nearly gets Hiro killed. Ikuno hides her feelings for Ichigo, afraid of how she and the rest of the squad would react if they ever found out. I mean, sure, she hasn't explicitly said anything, but my god do they hint the fuck out of it.
私はずっとこのままでいいかな。何かを隠してる味だ。
At the same time, Kokoro develops feelings for Mitsuru and in the process of trying to pursue those feelings, leaves Futoshi heartbroken. Meanwhile, Mitsuru does his best to deal with Hiro's betrayal of him and their broken promise to write a FranXX together when they were older, something which through extraneous circumstances Hiro had forgotten about, and that affected Mitsuru so deeply he struggled to trust anyone ever since. The only people not stuck in this web of melodrama are Miku and Zerome, whose relationship is literally built around them arguing with each other, and god there's not enough popcorn in the world to keep up with it all. This constantly shifting dynamic between the characters is intensely engaging, and not only reflects their growth as people as they slowly learn and come to terms with the fact that sometimes things just don't work out the way they want them to, but also the emotional strain that comes with these sorts of complicated connections, especially for teenagers for whom everything seems so much more confusing than it actually is. I will admit though, I am a bit concerned with the show's slant on this, focusing on the idea that you can only pilot a FranXX with a man and a woman, and the man has to be dominant and the woman has to be submissive, and so on. But it's something I feel is probably going to be, and to an extent already has been developed on, given what they seem to be building toward with Ikuno, and the fact that it shows the FranXXs can work with different configurations, given that Squad 9's mechs are piloted by the girls, with the boys taking the backseat. In retrospect, I should have probably waited till the series was over to see how this aspect of it actually plays out, but I'm impatient as fuck, so... But just as Squad 13's perspective on relationships grow and change, so too does their perception of the world around them shift. The society in which Squad 13 has been raised, as mentioned before, is a highly religious one, run by a technologically advanced theocracy that demands obedience and conformity, controlling everything from their daily routine to how they express their sex and sexuality. They've been taught from a young age to praise Papa, the godlike figure at the head of this world's leadership, and adulthood itself with an almost religious vigor, dreaming of the day they too can become adults, while the actual adults keep them at arm's length, seeing these teenagers as experiments more than anything else. It's a one-sided relationship. Parasitic, one might say. This is best seen in episode 10, when Squad 13 is brought down to their plantation city to celebrate their recent successes. In it, we see Zerome, the most fanatical of the group about the adult world, excited beyond belief, going so far as to shake one of the adults' hands, only to be ignored. When he decides to run off from the group to explore this magnificent city and hurts himself in the process, he's taken care of by an adult, and gets a glimpse into their daily lives. He sees that they live solitary lives, and interact with each other very little, partnering up only out of convenience, thinking that physical interaction is something that's uncomfortable. They even wear masks for the most part when talking to people, creating a literal metaphorical barrier between them. It's in this episode that we, alongside Zerome, start to see the flaws in the world they'd been raised to worship, realizing that it's not everything it's cracked up to be. I mean, hell, episode 16 is literally about the squad trying to live on their own and finding out firsthand just how much work goes into it. Like in real life, the kids learn that adulthood is not the paradise of freedom they dreamt of, but is instead cold, isolated, and buried in responsibility. Darling and FranXX's director, Atsushi Nishigori, stated in an interview that one of the main themes of the show is the fear of the unknown, referencing the mysterious Klaxosaurs as a manifestation of this idea. And I feel it's an apt description of the coming-of-age nature of the series as a whole, since the characters are learning to deal with emotions and responsibilities that, to them, are an unknown. They don't know what they're doing. They barely even know what kissing is. They do their best to put on a smile and act like nothing's wrong, but sometimes it can be too much for some of them to deal with. So they pull away and isolate themselves, afraid of being broken by the weight of it all. Some purposely push people away and end up developing behavior so toxic that they end up hurting the people they care about. Sometimes it makes them want to give up altogether. And yet, they find a way to get through it. For as dark as things may seem, they always find the strength they need to navigate these relationships and responsibilities that can seem so daunting to deal with, paradoxically, in those very same connections. They learn to let themselves rely on each other to stay afloat. Sure, it takes a while and they struggle to open up because admitting that you're not okay is not an easy thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's what lets them forge a path together through this hellscape. After all, a bird with one wing can only get so far, but with the help of another, they can soar to all new heights they thought impossible. Beyond the fantastically executed artwork and animation, I think the main appeal of Darling in the FranXX lies in its earnest portrayal of the convolutedly complicated nature of our relationships with the people and world around us, and its emphasis on finding the strength to navigate those minefields through our connections with the people we care about, whether they be romantic, familial, or friendly. Sure, the show may stumble trying to express this idea, but at the same time, it's a message I find to be both simple and profoundly beautiful. But maybe that's just me. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you like this more retrospective based video. It's a bit of a test for something I've wanted to try for a while now, and something I've wanted to switch my focus to, since I admittedly have become a bit burnt out with the way I've been approaching my videos for the last while. I just want to make sure that you actually have something to say with each video I make, for the most part. I've also decided to focus more so on animation related videos, to stop myself from being overwhelmed trying to keep up with literally everything. And because I tend to just have more fun talking about these sorts of things, and it's something I feel most of you have subscribed for anyway, so it works out in the end. Of course, this doesn't mean I won't make any general video essays or videos about non-anime and animation related things anymore. I'll just be doing them less frequently. I'm also going to be spending more time actually making these so they're as good as they can possibly be, which will probably fuck me over algorithmically, but whatever. Anyway, tell me what you think. If you agree, disagree, if you think 02 is best girl, if you think Goro is best boy, etc. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, check out my last video where I explained why SAO Alternative is actually good. Or check out my breakdown of American Gods and its approach to world building. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to come flag me. You can also follow me on Twitter for more updates about this channel and other stuff, and hopefully, I'll see you later.